This is Adoration. My name is Mac, and this is my third installment of my conversation with PW Howell. The theme of this conversation is the downfall of a kingdom, the collateral damage of America's rejection of God.
And this is what I was going to touch on Sunday. You talk about
Give me a little taste now.
One of the reasons why the U.S. is not in Revelations at all, in any way, form, or fashion. Not even a world power, not even an ally to Israel, because Israel is going to stand alone. So something would have had to happen in this nation to reduce it to practically a third world country. Something would have to have happened. Okay. And you can see it coming around. You can see it germinating. Okay. Just like Rome fell from the inside with demoralization and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I mentioned before, this nation was founded on Bible principles. Okay? Not religion, but Bible principles. And as a result, this nation has been blessed astronomically, exponentially. Food, land, freedom. This nation has been and has grown to be a world power in about 200 or 300 years. Easy. Okay? But now this nation has turned its back on God, taking prayer out of school. You can't say Jesus. A person can walk up to you and try to witness to you about Buddha, Hare Krishna, Islam. But if they witness to you about Jesus, you can file a complaint against them, harass them. Okay, and this is real. Okay, I'm speaking news on it. Okay, so this nation has turned its back and is turning its back on God. So when you turn your back on God, that's not a good thing. Okay,
Yeah.
because he can just back off and just let things happen. Okay, he doesn't have to do anything. Matter of fact, he's not the one that does anything. He just backs off and let the adversary, which is trying to get at you anyway, he just backs off and just let it happen. But nevertheless, this nation is almost a third world country, and it could happen overnight. It doesn't have to build up to it. It can happen overnight to where it's not even mentioned in Revelations at all. The U.S. is not even mentioned. There's kings of the north, which is Russia. Israel being the central focal point. You got kings of the north, which is Russia. You got kings of the east, which is China.
Yeah.
It doesn't focus in on the kings of the south, because if you think about it, what's going on now, Africa is being cultivated by China. China influence in Africa is off the charts. You know that.
I do. Yeah, I spent a lot of time. I was just in Rwanda.
Yes. Okay. So, something is brewing good. Something is brewing down there. Okay, as far as that's concerned. But there is no king of the West. Now, the kings of the West would be the U.S. That's always been an ally of Israel.
Right.
But at that time, Israel is standing alone. They have no allies. So evidently, something had to have happened. Not that the U.S. has stopped being an ally to Israel, but because they will still be kings of the West. But that's not the case. There is no kings of the West. There is no Western power, which is us from Israel. So something would have had to happen. Like I said, I'm going to get into that. This Sunday.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm not going to go full blast. Okay,
but you and I have kind of gone full blast with that before.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I was just repeating myself. Nothing new.
Yeah.
But this nation is in some deep duty. Okay, and Everybody's going about just fine, just happy as long as they get the rent paid by the cars, make the money, take care of the families. Everything is fine. But in reality, there's a lot of stuff going on in preparations for something big to happen that we don't know about. Okay.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah,
we're to be vigilant. Our prayers keep our eyes open.
absolutely. And you know, the fact of the matter is that even we can share what we're talking about now, and you know, you can have a whole bunch of people that will hear this and they won't think much about it, but they're going to really get their feelings hurt because you can see it. Um, in fact, I would even challenge anybody who's been on this planet at least 50 years to just think about how life was
Oh
50
man,
years ago.
how lawlessness has been grown. I mean, uh, uh, the violence and the conditioning of the American people to death, to chaos. Okay, we see it on TV. Okay, somebody gets shot. Ooh, yeah, and it's so clean they that was it was that, and they close their eyes and they're dead. That's not how death really is. Okay, death is not like that. Your eyes are open, the bowels release. It is nasty and is gross. But we're so callous to how seeing it on TV, seeing the movies that we just accept it. Okay, so when things actually really go down chaotically, you know, we're conditioned to more or less it doesn't affect us that much.
Right,
Unless
right.
the conditioning that's going on and it's accepted.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you should go in that direction, and I won't take it so much with the TV violence and things of that nature. But let me just make this one quick point that we have definitely been desensitized to violence. Period.
Yeah,
Um, but I recently just had I had to make a change because um, I used to really love going to see these DC comic Marvel movies and
yeah,
things
because
of that nature.
we were the
We
ones.
have
Yeah,
probably done that together, haven't we?
yeah, we did. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But last year I cut it out. And honestly, Mr. Phillip, it's not because I didn't already see things in there because you and I have talked about it. Certain
mhm,
things that have gone towards darkness, Satanism, things of that nature.
yeah,
But just like the rest of this world, the biggest trend in the comics right now is introducing trans and homosexual characters.
yeah,
And I just said, you know what? Enough is enough. Um, and I just had, you know, I just said, it's no value to me anymore. It probably never was any value really, but now the little bit of, can I say, entertainment that I was getting from them, because I still like the themes of good overdoing evil,
yeah,
but now they've made even those who are good, they've polluted them.
yeah, and that's to it being able to accept that good, you know, homosexuality, lesbian, they're together, so you accept it.
Right,
It's a condition, and it's all done
right.
by the adversary.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I, uh, I again, I'm speaking in a little bit of code, um, only because I'm not going to throw any names out here. But I tried to tell someone about a recent uh, movement. This would be from a civil rights point of view, a recent movement that's been going on in this country. And again, not saying any names, but had three people that are basically at the top of the food chain with this particular organization. And I was reading their statement of purpose because thank God, Mr. Phillip, you taught me how to always look for those things when considering anything.
Wow.
And for those who are listening, that includes when you're considering a church. Yes, we said it. You want to know what they're about,
Yeah.
what they believe. And when I originally went to the website for this organization, and I will say right now, since then they have taken this off. But their purpose, one of their main purposes, was to reestablish what is a family. And what they're saying, basically what they were saying is that the old standard of having a father and a mother and children is no longer in style, no longer the norm, no longer necessarily the acceptance. But now families can be anything. So whether it's two men and children, two women and children, a trans, a queer, or whatever.
Yeah.
This is what they are trying to now establish as the family. Now, again, they've taken it off of the site, but it speaks to the true nature of what they're all about.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that there has been no real effect on the culture, but I will say that the three at the top have become very wealthy. And that wealth can only come from those who have supported it.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so when you get into the weightier issues of the day, you can't find that group. But when there is any kind of purported injustices, and I say purported because even those injustices in some cases can really be questionable.
Mm-hmm.
They're all over the place, and by golly, don't try to have a conservative mind frame when dealing with those type of individuals because they don't believe in God and family. They just believe in being free and buck wild.
Yeah.
And this is again, this is the environment that we live in now, but even more importantly, this is the environment that our children are growing up into where everything has been perverted. And the standards, the moral standards, they've been eliminated. They're already eliminated.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I don't get into judging. I can't do that. Somebody I cannot do that. But I look at it because I know several people that live that lifestyle. We both do. We both do. Okay?
Of course, yeah.
And remember we talked about the fullness of time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has their fullness of time. Okay, it's going to come a point when the Lord is going to touch their heart. They can be deep into whatever they're into. Okay, they can be knee deep, but there's going to be a point in time. I'm talking about the individual now. Okay, that they're going to be awakened on the inside. Okay, and that's when they'll have to make a choice. Okay, and they're going to know because you can't ignore it. Okay, either come to Christ, and you clean, or He cleans up everything, or reject it and go your way. Okay, but up until that point comes, you cannot force it on anybody. I mean, I'm not talking about just that group. You can't do it with your children. You can't do it with your brother. You can't do it with your mother. You can't do it with your father. You can't do it with anybody. It's in God's time. Okay, and unfortunately, that's why the prayers have to be constantly going up, so that the dog can touch them. Because if they continue, you know the end. Because when they die, they're gonna die in a sense. Okay, but somewhere along the line, they will have been given that chance. If not yet, they will. Okay, but before they die, they will have been given that opportunity. I really believe that. I believe that. I believe that. No one is going to die without having an opportunity. We never know what they've been exposed to. We never know what witness. We have no idea. Okay, but somewhere along the line, they would have been given that choice, and they will do exactly what it is. They'll either reject it or they accept it and start going in this direction. Okay, um, but up to that time, I mean, they're responsible for what they do. Okay, but we can't judge. We don't know the end. Okay, we don't. That's why I cannot condemn and categorize, because once I start condemning and categorizing, that puts me in a position to where I can be condemned and I can be categorized for what I believe. Okay, which is coming. Okay, so if it's good for the game, it's good for the goose. Okay, so we have to keep these things balanced. Okay, because we can easily, and it's going to come to this, be on the other side of that fence. Okay, and you're only going to be getting what you dished out. Okay, so we have to back off in categorizing, judging, pigeonholing, and condemning. We have to back off of that and just leave it up to God. Okay, and know that their fullness of time may not have come, or it may have. We don't know, and because we don't know, we got to back off, because we cannot jump in there and say you this, you that, you want. We cannot get into that. Like I said, what's coming down the pipe for Christianity, to true Christians, you're going to be on the other side of that fence. Okay. And you're going to be looking for help, looking for understanding. You won't get it because you never gave it.
Gotcha.
I believe that. Yeah.
I can definitely see that. It kind of goes back to some of the things that I've shared as well. Um, we don't have the whole story.
Right.
You can meet someone, and I always like, me, I like to take it to being on the street. So I can meet somebody on the corner. uh, hey, look, you guys, if you don't know what the corner is, trust me, you have seen people on the corner.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But that's one day out of many days in their lives. And just because they're on the corner on the day that you saw them doesn't mean that next year or the year after or 5, 10 years from now they'll still be on that corner. We don't know it, and to your point, we can't make judgments about it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So even when I'm saying these things, I'm just really making observations because, unfortunately, um, those who are, let's say, at this moment, really being influenced by the atmosphere of Satan. Um, they use a word about believers or saying that we don't really exercise this word. You and I have talked about this word being tolerance.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
um, I found that right now that tolerance is really a one-sided thing, and
I
it's
was just
about
getting ready to use that word. Generally one-sided. I was just getting ready to say that. Yeah. Okay. So true.
yeah,
Generally one-sided. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. um, and honestly, um, there were times in my life where I didn't want it to be necessarily one-sided, and when certain things were thrown my way, I wanted to just throw them back because you know uh,
Yeah.
that's the nature of man.
Yeah.
A man without God.
very, very true.
um, but now I almost see that word tolerance as an indicator of where a person is or is not. Because right now, I believe that we do have to be very tolerant for the reasons you stated, um, and that's not dependent on receiving that tolerance back.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah, and um, I've had to learn how to be uh, at peace with that.
Hmm.
And that in itself has been a process. And I'm just being really transparent because there are no secrets here. Um, but I've actually now found a joy in that tolerance. I found a peace and an understanding that you know really God is the only one who knows the outcome,
Hmm.
and it's actually made life better for me in being peaceful in situations where it almost seems like the powers that be are trying to force a reaction,
Yeah.
and I think that force of reaction is only going to intensify as time goes on,
Yeah.
and we're going to really end up in a situation where we're really going to have to really you'll let me put it this way: we'll know who's who. And we're already starting to find out who's who, but we'll really know who's who.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Uh, you can see it now. Okay,
Hmm.
you can see it now with the little things. Okay, you can see it now with the lesser things, the pressures, the stress, the pushing to get a response, and people are losing it. Uh, and if they can't deal with the little things and what's coming down the pipe, man, they're gonna be hyperventilating all day. Well, they're so far into their feelings that they automatically have a knee-jerk reaction and get caught up in it and lose and lose. You know, uh, but that's what's coming on the pipe. What we're seeing now here in the U.S. is the opposition marshaling their I want to say tools, not so much as people, but the tools. Okay, to just like Christ said with Peter, Satan is there and wants to sift you with wheat. So that's going to come around to us. Okay, and like you said, true color is going to show. You're going to find out who's real and who's not. When you take away the glam and the glitter, What happened? Then now what? And that's coming. Okay, that's coming. And like I said, it could happen overnight. So you keep yourself humble. Keep yourself, if you don't establish, like I told you before, a living, viable, working relationship with God, now when it's free, you when it hits the fan, you're gonna be like the 5 versions without oil.
Mm,
And you're gonna be caught.
yeah.
And then you can do about it. You don't want to.
Yeah. That you know what, that's one of my favorite passages in scripture. There's so much that you can glean out of that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so transparent in these days that there's a whole bunch of folk that have used up that oil.
They play
And
it. They play it. They play it. All right.
yeah, but you know what? What I also like though, because it's easy to focus on the 5 foolish virgins, but I also like to think with the 5 wise that they knew that they had to have an abundance of overflow of supply. Like it wasn't just about having that lamp filled. They had to have reserve.
I don't know. All they had to have what they needed.
Okay.
Okay. They didn't necessarily need. I don't think they had to need an abundance because they had to have what they needed when the bridegroom came.
Okay.
Okay, so they had to keep that lantern filled. They may have been using it, not knowing when he's going to come, but they have to keep it filled, and because they're gonna need that oil. Okay, and they
Right.
only had just enough for them.
Okay.
Because if they had abundance, they could just give it some to the foolish workers.
Okay. Well, when I
If
say
that was possible, you know.
when I say abundance, um, it's really more like I wasn't trying to say it in a way that somehow they could have so much that they could actually give to others. Because if unless I'm really not capturing the story, um, you can't give that supply to anyone anyway.
I know, right, right, right. So you can never have an abundance. You don't need an abundance. You're
Okay.
going to need what you have. You're going to just have what you need
Okay.
because an
Okay.
abundance. Yeah, that's important. That's how I'm looking
Thank you for joining us for the third installment of my conversation with PW Howell. We pray that something that has been shared this evening will truly bless you and make you really think about what is going on in this current time and to consider God in all of your decisions. God bless you.